we should start talking about what's going on right now, the urgency of the matter, and yeah, and then we'll move on to like what we can do.
Sure, let's talk about the recent history and what has been happening. Uh, to begin with a little more political and diplomatic context, uh, like I said, Rojava was able to come to life with the vacuum of power that the Syrian civil war caused and the sort of underground organization of the peoples, which with the vacuum became above ground. Uh, and uh, this project has been threatened by multiple actors in the region. The Syrian state, which is a Ba'athist Arab nationalist state, uh, has been hostile to all non-Arab populations that live within Syria since its establishment in the 1950s. Current President Bashar al-Assad's father, Hafez al-Assad, who was elected, who was actually came to power after a coup, I think, in 59 or 1960, created this Arab Belt project and took the citizenship of hundreds of thousands of Kurds and put all these oppressive policies to assimilate the Kurds and make them dependent on the state for their literal sustenance, and has been close to any discussions, debates of autonomy, let alone self-administration by, of different peoples, and has been desiring to see the end of the Rojava revolution and Rojava project, and would like to incorporate Rojava into its control as soon as possible. So another hostile actor in the region is Turkey. Turkey, which has been waging a war with the PKK since early 1980s, 1984 to be more precise, has seen the autonomous administration in Rojava sort of as an extension of the PKK and has been dubbing it terrorist and attacking it at different points over the past 10 years. This is actually a little contradictory because when the autonomous administration was first declared, Turkish President Erdogan hosted Saleh Muslim, who was the former autonomous administrative co-president of the region of Rojava, and offered sort of like a proxy deal, said we will work with you, Turkey will work with you if you enter the Syrian National Army and rise up against Assad and be my proxy force. And the autonomous administration refused this and decided not to take sides in the Syrian civil war, as in not directly fight with Assad against the opposition or vice versa. And after Rojava's insistence on this third path policy, Turkey increased its hostilities along with the end of the peace negotiations between the PKK and Turkey during the mid-2010s. Turkey started to adopt a more hostile approach. Since 2015-2016, Turkey has carried out two major crossover operations, and each time it occupied 5 to 10% of Rojava's area, first in Afrin and later in Grespi and Anya. And Turkey, over the past, especially over the past 5-6 years, Turkey has been viewing Rojava as sort of a threat to its own, because Turkey occupies a significant part of Kurdistan and is worried that experience of self-determination and autonomy in Syria-occupied Kurdistan in Rojava may aspire or may lead to similar developments in the areas that it itself occupies in southeast Turkey / North Kurdistan. So Rojava politically and diplomatically, has these two major threats, and has been pursuing a sort of third path policy that I mentioned, both regarding the Syrian civil war, as in against Syrian national opposition, Syrian national army, and Assad's regime forces. And Turkey has adopted autonomous administration of North and East Syria. Rojava has adopted a similar third path policy diplomatically and internationally. What do we mean by this? Although it's heavily assisted by the US, especially militarily, diplomatically and politically, it doesn't align itself with neither the US nor Russia, and is open to collaboration with both camps that are active in the Syrian civil war. As we know, hegemonic forces of Russia and US are on the ground. Also, Iranian forces, Turkish forces are on the ground. So there are many regional and global actors at play, and the autonomous administration has been able to maintain its autonomous role and its revolutionary project through maneuvering this really windy course path of the third way, taking advantage of the disagreements between these regional and global players, and not siding with one completely, and focusing on building its infrastructure, has been the political and diplomatic response. Going back to the Turkish invasions, they are the biggest threat at the moment. Syrian regime forces, although still hostile, has not been directly attacking, occupying. To the contrary, when Turkey started invading Afrin in 2018 and Serikani and Grespi in 2019, it sort of pushed Syrian state and the autonomous administration even a little closer, because a Turkish invasion not only threatens Rojava and the autonomous administration there, but Syria as well. Syria is very familiar of the Ottoman legacy and Turkish control over Syria for 400 centuries until the First World War. So over the past 2-3 years, with more and more Turkish invasions, Assad, Syrian regime and Rojava collaborate just a little more, but this collaboration has not yielded any significant results, because Assad still maintains its ethnic, authoritarian approach, an assimilative approach to Rojava, and all these alliances that I've been trying to describe are, very temporary, can be shifted in any day. So Rojava is continuing to increase its autonomies and capabilities, while not losing the grounds that have been, the strides that have been made over the past 10 years.
We should, say that Turkey and its jihadi proxies have been attacking the autonomous administration basically nonstop since the last invasion in 2018. So both shelling, bombings from the territory that is occupied by Turkey and its proxies, the territory that Emre just showed in the map, as well as drone attacks coming out from Turkey directly that have been targeting political leaders, activists, movement people, assassinating them, and the shellings that take place basically on everyday basis. Those have been targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure, like schools that you mentioned. So yes, that's an everyday reality that people in Rojava are experiencing.